In 1856, a Vermont minister described a January morning where the water in his wash basin had frozen solid overnight, and the ink on his desk had turned to black ice in the well. This was the baseline of an American winter. The problem lay in the physics of the open hearth. A fireplace operates at barely 20% efficiency, sending the majority of its heat straight up the chimney. As that hot air escapes, it creates a vacuum that pulls freezing air into the house through every crack in the walls. While you might be comfortable directly in front of the flames, the temperature dropped significantly just 3 feet away. Across the room, your breath would still hang in the air. The very fire meant to warm a family was simultaneously turning the rest of their home into a walk-in freezer. Families survived by abandoning most of their house and retreating to a single space, the keeping room. Within arm's reach of the main hearth, they cooked, worked, and slept together, sacrificing all privacy to stay within the circle of warmth. When young couples courted, they practiced bundling, sharing a bed fully clothed, often with a wooden board between them. It was a pragmatic calculation. 2 bodies generated their own heat, saving the family from burning a day's worth of firewood to heat a parlor for a social visit. That wood was becoming a scarce commodity. A typical household burned 20 cords of timber a year, a rate of consumption that pushed forests back so far from cities that the cost of hauling fuel became unaffordable for many. By the mid-1700s, Philadelphia physicians observed that the poor were freezing simply because they could no longer buy wood. Warmth had moved from a common necessity to a luxury stratified by income. Benjamin Franklin tried to solve the crisis with a cast-iron stove designed to radiate more heat, but early engineering flaws caused it to smoke heavily. The search for a better solution eventually led the nation to a hotter, longer-lasting fuel, coal. A coal stove could sit in the center of a room, releasing steady heat that allowed families to finally spread out, and children could sleep in separate bedrooms, and hallways no longer felt like walking into a meat locker. This new era of indoor comfort was paid for in human bodies. Mining coal was a relentless ordeal of cave-ins, explosions, and the slow suffocation of black lung disease. Above ground, the air in industrial cities turned thick in gray. Burning coal coated buildings in soot and sulfur, poisoning the air to keep the parlors warm. Staying warm still required an immense toll. Coal simply moved that cost from the domestic hearth to the underground mine and the urban sky. The next revolution came with central steam and water radiators. The adoption was slow until the 1918 influenza pandemic forced a radical change in how buildings were engineered. Public health officials believed ventilation was the only defense. They mandated that windows stay wide open, even in the dead of winter, to flush the virus from indoor spaces. To keep people from freezing during this mandate, engineers designed massively oversized radiators and placed them directly beneath the windows. The goal was to heat the air the moment it entered the room. This established a new engineering standard. A heating system had to maintain a warm room on the coldest day of the year with every window wide open. Once the pandemic passed and the windows were finally closed, these systems began to overheat. It's why modern city dwellers still find themselves cracking a window in February to escape an apartment that feels like a sauna. The modern radiator is a living relic, a pandemic survival strategy still running exactly as it was designed a century ago. Central heating dissolved the physical constraints of the cold. Architects moved away from small enclosed rooms and low ceilings, giving birth to the sprawling, open floor plans of the mid-century suburban home. Daily life shifted too. Heavy wool layers and thermal caps were replaced by lightweight indoor clothing, and winter diets moved away from calorie-dense stews as the body no longer struggled just to maintain its temperature. With the thermostat standard and the furnace hidden behind walls, the infrastructure of warmth became invisible. For the first time in history, Americans could largely ignore the season. This seamless comfort removed the daily reminders of the labor required to keep the cold at bay, replacing a woodpile with a dial on the wall. That comfort now relies on a fragile, continuous supply chain of fuel extraction and power grids. We have exchanged the physical effort of chopping wood for a total reliance on a system we rarely see and even more rarely understand. During the 2021 Texas grid failure, Millions of people were suddenly cut off from this invisible support. Modern families were forced back into the colonial reality. They burned furniture for heat, huddled together for warmth, and watched their breath freeze inside their own homes. The cold never changed. We just forgot what it felt like. And every time the power goes out, we are reminded of just how thin our margin of survival has become.